Hello everybody! If you're new to this channel, my name is Giancarlo and today we're going to be reviewing the 2020 Audi SQ5. Now before we get into this review, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing down below and make sure to hit that bell icon so you get notified every time we drop a new video and you don't miss out on anything cool like this video right here. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, subscribe, it helps us a lot. But now, let's get into it guys. So looking at this vehicle right away, it's a nice SUV and it has a very sleek design. Looks aggressive, and I really like the black optics pack that you get on this vehicle. So what that does, it is going to black out the grille in the front. You're going to get some blacked out mirrors on the side and blacked out accents around the windows. So this would be chrome instead, and this would be kind of silver or the color of your car if it wasn't like blacked out. And then on your mags, you have some 20-inch mags. They look very good and you have some nice beefy brakes on that. But I don't like this big gap that you have over here. I find the car or the SUV is a bit too high, but it does give you a very comfortable ride. And then when you come to the back, you have this nice spoiler over here that looks really aggressive. Probably doesn't do anything, but it looks nice. You have some nice LED lights in the back as you do in the front, and they work really well. And then there's the engine. So this engine is actually a 3-liter turbocharged V6 producing 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. So what I don't understand is you only get 349 horsepower from a V6 and there's a turbo on that. But then again, Mercedes is able to get 400 horsepower out of a 4-cylinder turbo. Audi, what happened? Aren't you Germans as well? Can't you give us more power out of a V6? Very disappointed. So considering this is an SUV, a sports utility vehicle, it needs to be practical. So it has a pretty good space in the back. So it's a good amount of space in the boot. And to test it out, we're gonna do the greenlight trunk test. So I have a friend over here and we're gonna try to fit him inside and see how much space he has, if it's comfortable. So as you can see, he fits very nicely. Not only does he fit well, but you could hide him in here by closing this. And I could probably fit another person in there, and it closes, you have that automatic button. You don't have to struggle that much. And then you can go and you can go on with your drive and you have an extra seat in the back. Also in the boot, under this piece over here, they added a full spare tire. So if you're in a troubling situation, you have a flat, you're gonna be able to change it with a full-size tire. The only thing it's not inflated, so you have a pump in the back and you're gonna have to pump it up once you put it in place. But besides that, it's a nice touch. You also get a subwoofer over here that's part of the upgraded sound system. So if you have that option in the car, you're gonna get your subwoofer over here in the back. And sounds pretty nice. But then let's talk about the cons. And you have one crazy con over here. So there's no exhaust. There just isn't any exhaust. You have a spot for it, but instead of an exhaust, you just have some plastic, which is not even a vent. It's just full plastic and it looks completely terrible and cheap. I really hate that from Audi. And then the exhaust is just under it, which I don't understand. How much could it have costed to put an extra 5 inches of metal to make the exhaust come out in the back? It makes no sense to me. And then another thing, in the front of this vehicle, so you have your vents, right? And I'll be impressed. Look, there's functional vents in the bottom, on the top. And then on the right side, there's a functional vent over here. But then on the left side, it's just plastic. There's no vent. So they just decided, you know what? The designer's like, we might put the vent on the right, but we want to put it on the left, and because which flip a coin, right, yes, left, no, and that's it. Now coming to the back seats, it is a very nice cabin. You have enough leg room and enough headroom. The only thing is, because it's a very curved vehicle, this curves down a bit and it's a bit harder to get in if you're very tall, and you have this big pillar over here right next to your head. But you do get a nice sunroof that opens all the way in the back, and you have 4-zone climate control, so you can control your climate over here, and you get good amount of space, good legroom. And what I like is the seats are extremely comfortable, whether it's in the back or in the front. Audi makes some very comfortable seats, and you have some fake carbon fiber over here, some Alcantara, so the quality inside is very nice and comfortable. Coming inside the cabin, it is very luxurious, and I have to say I do like the steering wheel. I like that it's cut and it looks very sporty. And the buttons are very easy to use. All of that is fine. I like the, the build quality. I like the materials that they use. It doesn't look cheap. Now, the only things I don't like, well, the one thing I really don't like is the screen. The screen is outdated. It's terrible. It looks like it's coming out of an A3. It looks like it pops up from the bottom like in those old Audis. And the infotainment is so old. It's easier to use, don't get me wrong, but it really needs to be updated. I feel like they had this system in their cars for over 10 years. And compared to Mercedes or any other car of the sorts, it's really not that intuitive, and it's not that good. I don't like that it's not touch. I don't like that you have to use this wheel. And then now they've added in the 2020 this touchpad over here that if you press on it, it'll bring you to the navigation. And it allows you to kind of play around with the navigation. And what I don't understand is why they would add a touchpad only for your navigation when, like, what are the chances you're going to use that on a daily basis when they could have added a touchpad to use the screen, but they added it only for the navigation, and that makes no sense to me. And then I hate the screen, but I like their digital dash. Don't get me wrong, the digital dash is very easy to use, and I like that you can add your map on it, and then you could even put the map to be full screen if you wanted to, and you can kind of play around with it. And I really like these designs on the side for the gas. Like, all of that is fine. It's just this screen. Every single time I look at it, it just gives me anxiety. And it's probably the only reason I wouldn't buy this. Now, the other thing I really don't like is in the normal S5, so the car, the Sportback or the sedan or whatever, you get a choice of, I believe, 6 or 7 colors when it comes to ambient lighting, which is not a lot, but it's better than nothing. But in this SUV, which is the SQ5, so kind of the same line as the S5, just bigger, you only get white. You only get one color, and it's white, and that's it. You can't get an option to get other colors, and it's completely ridiculous that they would do that. I hate when car manufacturers have the option to give you something, have the option to give you extra tech or extra gadgets for your money, but they don't do it for some reason, because I guess they want you to buy a more expensive vehicle or for whatever marketing reasons or whatever reasons they have to make money. But they have this tech. They're able to change the screen. They're able to give you better infotainment and more colors for the LED lights. It's the same LED lights. They're just blocked. They just don't do it for some reason, and I hate that. I hate when car manufacturers do that. But besides that, it is a very luxurious cabin. The seats are extremely comfortable, and I like this diamond stitching that they have. I like that they use some Alcantara on the doors, and they have the fake carbon fiber. At least it's not piano black. It doesn't have to be carbon fiber. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it looks good. But man, the screen, it really gets me going. But now that we've spoken of all of this, and you guys obviously already know about the infotainment because it's been around for about 10 years. We don't need to get into that. And we're going to go drive this SUV so you guys can see how it is on the road. And we're going to show you, we're going to talk about the suspension, the engine, the exhaust, and all of that. But before we get into that, let's start this thing up and see how it sounds. We can't see the exhaust, but let's at least try to see how it sounds. Alright guys, so we're now driving the 2020 Audi SQ5, and you have a lot of different modes in this vehicle to select of when you want to drive it. So we're going to start off driving in the comfort mode. You also have an off-road mode, but we're not going to be testing that today. So we're going to start in the comfort mode, and you see right away that this is a very comfortable vehicle, and that's why so many people like it. It's very easy to drive. Very smooth when you're driving it, whether it's on the road or on the highway. The throttle is very responsive, the brakes are very responsive, and the suspension is very comfortable. I really enjoy driving this. The only thing is, if you're driving it in the comfort mode, the steering is not that direct. It's very you know, it moves a lot, and it's not direct at all, but that's fine, because if you want to put it into auto or dynamic, it's going to stiffen up right away, and your throttle response is going to be more intense and instant, and everything is just going to stiffen up, even your suspension. But it's not too stiff to a point where it bothers you. It still stays very comfortable. You also get a bit more exhaust noise in the back when you put it into dynamic, so we're going to accelerate a bit so you guys can hear that. So it's not the loudest car, but you do get a bit of a burble, and it sounds nice, even though the exhausts are in the bottom. Besides that, it handles really, really, really well. For an SUV, this is pretty heavy, but you don't get any roll, or barely any roll at all. And it revs really high, even if you have it in automatic. Right now I'm in manual, but even if you have it in automatic, you'll be able to rev it easily to 6,500 RPM on your dynamic mode. So that's very nice. And it's a nice, very comfortable, it's a comfortable cabin. The seats are comfortable. The headrest is very comfortable. I really, the more I drive it, the more I enjoy this car, and I like that a lot. I like that, you know, it's a driving car. Now, what's cool about this is that the complaints that I had about this vehicle, so the two big, massive complaints I had were, first of all, the infotainment that is outdated, and second of all, the fact that there was no exhaust in the back, because the exhaust is hidden, it's in the bottom, and they just put this fake plastic. Now, in 2021, there's a facelift version of this car coming out. So there's a facelift 2021 SQ5, and they fixed both of those things in the facelift. So they have a whole new infotainment that they're introducing in this vehicle, and they added exhaust in the back. So they went back to now they have quad exhaust in the back. So they went back in time, they realized that whatever they did here doesn't work, and they're going back to the original 4 exhausts. And it looks really, really cool. It also has a bit more horsepower, I believe, and it looks really nice. So I enjoy all that a lot, and I'm very excited to try that new car. Now, it does sound pretty nice. The more you warm it up,
even in comfort, even very, very nice.
And the more you drive it, the more you warm it up, the louder it gets. And the speed is very, very, very decent. It's very good. It's not slow at all. You get a launch control in this car, which is very good. It's very fun to drive.
Yeah.
So all in all, guys, I really do suggest this vehicle if you're interested in buying it. Now, all you have to consider is if you really want that new infotainment and those exhausts in the back, then wait for the 2021 version coming out soon. But if that is not that important for you, then go to an Audi dealership right now and get this, because there's not that many differences, but besides, you know, a little bit of the facelift and a bit of, well, the infotainment and the looks of it. But this is an amazing SUV, and you'll be very happy with
for the money you're spending. You're gonna be more than happy.
Exactly. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you guys soon.